Today's class is on the 11th of February 2007, and this is a special class on, we'll be starting at least with the horoscope of Sriram, with good reason. To learn these horoscopes, to use these horoscopes, or rather, the way we use them in tradition, is that the first lesson normally comes from learning the horoscope of Sriram. The student is taught to draw the chart, preferably in a chart style of the Guru, that the Guru will teach the child or the student, and specifically by drawing these positions in the chart of Sriram, they say that the Jyotish process starts. The process of learning Jyotish, understanding Jyotish starts. So naturally this is something that we have to cover as well in the classes. So, now, Sri Ram's horoscope is what we'll start with. There are horoscopes for each of the avatars. There is also, I have even seen a horoscope for Narasimha. However, I have not seen all the planetary positions. But we do already have a horoscope for Sri Ram, for Krishna, his Amsa avatar of Krishna, namely Chaitanya. We have the horoscopes from our Parampara. We'll be covering some of these charts today, mainly to remember them and how we use them in the tradition to learn Jyotish. Okay. So, horoscope of Sri Ram. It is said that he has 5 exalted planets or own sign. The dictum is 5 own sign or exalted planets. Okay? That is the wording used is Swocha. Hence people say it can also mean own sign. Most people interpret this as exalted. The date that he was born on is said to be Shukla Navami with Punarvasu Nakshatra. I believe we had some confusion in the previous class whether it was Pusha or Punarvasu. It is Punarvasu.
Shukla Navami.
Shukla Navami, Punarvasu Nakshatra. Some people have some mixed ideas about exactly when this birth took place. But what is for sure, as far as Yuga calculations are concerned, he was said to have been born in the, what was it, Treta Yuga. Yes? It was Treta Yuga. That means any attempt to calculate his birth time is, with the present day software, somewhat impossible. The ephemeris that we have nowadays only goes to around 5000 BC. With that we should be able to calculate Krishna's horoscope, but not Sri Ram's. So any attempt to find his horoscope within this 1,000 year span should not be done, unless our ephemeris gets better. So this is why I put a lot of stress on Ayanamsa, on ephemeris, things like that.
Perhaps even those softwares that use the formulas for calculating the planetary positions should be possible to utilize for...
That is what we should be aiming towards, yes. And this knowledge about calculating them should be found in the Surya Siddhanta. However, to date, there's not been a complete and thorough investigation into some of the intricacies of the calculation of these positions, such as the distance between the Sun and Earth, whether it is increasing or decreasing, or what is happening over time, and with which rate it's doing so. This is supposed to also be revealed in some of the scriptures and the calculations. However, not clearly, but in the calculations themselves, it's supposed to be so. Now, so do not try to find this chart in Jagannath Hora. First of all, you will not be able to find it. If our understanding of the Yuga calculation is correct, you will not be able to find it. Now, he is said, formally in the tradition, it's accepted that he has Cancer Lagna. That is also given in the scriptures presenting his chart. He is supposed to have Moon and Jupiter on the Lagna. So this Jupiter is the first planet which is exalted among the 5. Cancer Lagna means Libra will be the 4th house. Saturn is there. So it's also exalted. He's the 2nd planet which is exalted. Mars is in the 7th house, also exalted. Thus, Sun is in the 10th house, also exalted. And Venus is in the 9th house, also exalted. So, he has 5 exalted planets as a result. Rahu is in the 6th house, in Sagittarius, thus making it debilitated, and thus Ketu is also debilitated in the 12th house. Mercury is in the 11th house, in Taurus. Some people think that this could be in a 10th house, this Mercury. However, I will do a reasoning why this may or may not be so. But it is not exalted. Mercury is in either Taurus or Aries. And I think we have covered all the planetary positions as a result. Notice that Saturn is opposite the Sun in this chart. Saturn in Libra, Sun in Aries. So, as a result, Saturn must be retrograde. Because when an outer planet is opposite the Sun, it will always be retrograde. Always. Retrogression starts when a planet, at least for the outer planets, that is Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars, they begin their retrogression when they get to the 9th house from the Sun, and they end it in the 5th house from the Sun. Okay? Actually, from the planet's perspective, it will be 5th house, Sun moving there, and then moving all the way to the 9th house from the same planet. So that entire span is supposed to be when the planet is in its retrogression. So Saturn in the 4th house must be in retrogression. We usually mark that with a parenthesis around it, or we write or underline it, or we put a small, sign of an R next to it, just to show it's retrograde. That you decide yourself. For formality's sake, we normally put a parenthesis around it. Okay? So Sriram, he, as I said before, he's supposed to be born in Punarvasu Nakshatra on Navami Tithi. Now there's a problem in this, because if you do the calculations, then if the person is supposed to be born on Navami Tithi, what is the span of Navami Tithi? The Tithi is calculated by seeing the distance from the Sun, between the Sun and the Moon, yes? Now, each Tithi is 12 degrees, so Navami is the 9th Tithi. The 9th Tithi is between 96 degrees and 108 degrees from the Sun. That means the Moon must be in such degrees. Now, even if the Sun is in the beginning of Aries, 96 degrees therefrom will mean that the Moon is in between 6 degrees of Cancer and, 18 degrees of Cancer. Okay? So the Moon should be between 6 degrees and 18 degrees of Cancer. However, Punarvasu is only in the first 3 degrees 20 minutes of Cancer. Ooh. So that means that his Moon would be in either Pushya Nakshatra or Ashrisha Nakshatra. Does that mean the Rishis are wrong?
No,
obviously not. Some people may even start thinking that maybe they use a different nakshatra scheme that time. Or the Ayanamsa was different. They may start philosophizing about that. Usually, when the Rishis used to mention what was in the sky, they were not wrong. Okay? They use the actual nakshatras in the sky. And if they're referring to Rashis as used in the tropical zodiac, they would use the word Sayana. Vyasa has done this. He refers to Sayana and Nirayana. Sayana is the tropical zodiac. Nirayana is the sidereal zodiac. Of course they knew both. They're very dependent on each other, these two zodiacs. But they'd clearly mention it. Especially in birth charts, they would definitely mention Nirayana. So, what could they be meaning, or what are they implying by saying that the Moon or that the nakshatra is Punarvasu? According to Satya Jatakam, that means that the Lagna can be stronger than the Moon, and thus it's dominating the nakshatra. Interesting, eh? Satya Jatakam says, find the struggle between Moon's nakshatra and Lagna's nakshatra. Use that for predictive purposes in the horoscope. And he actually, in such a case, will completely omit using the Moon's nakshatra. Keep that in mind. He'll actually omit using it completely. So in this chart, if Lagna is in Punarvasu nakshatra, that means it's in the first 3 degrees 20 minutes of Cancer. And Moon will be in, not in Punarvasu, it will be in either Pushya or in Ashrisha. Now, I had told you in a previous class that the nakshatra lord must be seen to see the strength of the horoscope and how long you'll be known, have fame, etc. So now tell me, which of the 3 planets which lord these 3 nakshatras, First tell me, which planets lord the 3 nakshatras? Who lords Punarvasu? Who lords Pusha? Who lords Ashrisha? Yes. Guru lords Punarvasu, Shani lords Pusha, and Buddha lords Ashrisha. Okay? If Sriram is supposed to have lasting fame as a Vishnu avatar, keep that in mind also, then it means that these planets we've mentioned must be strong in the chart. Okay? Now tell me, based on Sriram's horoscope, which of these planets, that is Jupiter, Saturn or Mercury, are strong?
Jupiter is extremely strong. Take Bala and exaltation in the Lagna in Simhasana position.
Yes, Jupiter is very strong. It's in Lagna, it is exalted, it is joined the moon, Gajakeshari Yoga is there, full Gajakeshari Yoga, full fame, lasting fame. Hamsa Mahapurush Yoga, very, very powerful yoga. Okay?
Digbala.
Digbala, everything, full flow. Okay? Very strong. Saturn, he's in Libra, exalted. Keep in mind, he's exalted. He's retrograde, however. Okay. So there could be, if that was the planet, then there could be some, retrogression as far as his reputation and his remembrance of him is concerned. One day, this is supposed to indicate that he could be forgotten or misplaced or misjudged, something like that, misunderstood. Possibly. Mercury is not in exaltation or anything. It's in Taurus, or it can be in Aries. Is there a possibility that it could be exalted in Navamsa? Only if it's in the last portion of Taurus, or if it's in the sixth portion of Aries, Navamsa-wise. So that possibility is there. However, if you were to judge based on these three, who would you take? Guru. Definitely. Vishnu avatar, and he's remembered for so many births, so many lifetimes. He's supposed to be coming from a different yuga altogether. We still remember him.
It's quite amazing fame.
Amazing fame. Now you understand how strong that moon and Jupiter is in his Lagna. I don't even have to look at the horoscope to know that his nakshatra dispositor must be very strong in his horoscope. He's a Vishnu avatar, and we remember him many thousands of years after he's been born. Okay? Good. Now, of course, Vishnu avatars, still Vishnu, though he is God, an answer of God. It doesn't mean God is beyond the creation that he himself makes. He has to live up to his own creation. You see that? There's supposed to be many, many forms of God.
So I have one clarification on this. Now we've done this part, then you can also do the opposite part. Like say if you look at riches, you also look at see if this yoga is for poverty. Now in this case, could we also look at the moon and suggest which nakshatra the moon is in and see what the lord of that could be and whether that's in high.
What I'm trying to imply by this is, since the moon can not only be in Saturn's nakshatra or Mercury's nakshatra, and the Lagna is Okay, now we're back on the 11th of February 2007, and we are continuing with the chart of the Srirama. I also want to get to Sri Krishna's chart also and some other charts. Just so you remember them, because it's necessary to remember, understand what you can learn from these charts. Okay, we'll be going through Rama's chart, and there's a whole bunch of things to learn there about curses. We went through a few of these aspects. Study this for curses. Okay? A few things that we must teach you. Once you've learned Rama's chart, I must teach you the indication of the Rama avatar.
Okay. Vishnu avatar.
Vishnu avatar is one thing, but specifically, once you've found the Vishnu avatar, there are certain conditions to be met, and there are certain remedies you can learn from this.
Okay.
Yes. Rama, to fulfill his purpose, he established Rameshwara. Okay? Rameshwara. That is a form of Shiva, who is the Lord of Rama. He did this in southern India, on the banks. Now, what does this mean? How does he know how to fulfill his purpose? How to do this? This is how you do. You find the Atma Karaka in your chart.
Yes.
You worship the Karaka of that Bhava. where the Atmakaraka is. So if Atmakaraka is in first house, worship the sun, who is Karaka for first house. If Atmakaraka is in fourth house, worship the moon, who is the main Karaka for fourth house. What are the main Karakas for each house? Number one, first house, second house, third house. Let me just repeat for the recording's sake. First house, sun. Second house, Jupiter. Third house, Mars. Fourth house, moon. Fifth house, Guru again, Jupiter. Sixth house, Shani. Seventh house, Shukra, Venus. Eighth house, Shani again. Ninth house, Guru again. Not sun, Guru. 10th house, Buddha. Main Karaka Buddha. Don't involve the others. Only Buddha. 11th house, Guru, Jupiter again. 12th house, Shani again. Okay. These are the main Karakas. Remember these only. So, when you want to fulfill your soul's purpose, worship the Karaka of the house where the Atma is. Specifically, you must also know your soul's purpose. This is how you do it. Okay?
So you will know your soul's purpose.
By doing this. Karaka is opening the doors. It unlocks the doors. Okay? What did Rama do? He established Rameshwara. Prior to going to the war, he was taught the Aditya Hridayam, again the sun. You see that? Again the sun. But here's something in the story we did not catch. He also went to the easternmost part of India, to Orissa. And there he went to a place called Chandigarh. And he got a mantra for Chandi. Chandi is related to which planet? Rahu, okay, yes. It is also associated with Mars. Okay, Chandi is specifically associated with Mars. It's a form of Durga who goes to war. So it's related to war, it's related to Mars. Now here's the second lesson. To manifest that thing you want to manifest in life, to manifest, say, the result of your Atmakaraka. One thing is opening the door. The second thing is establishing that, right? Establishing that in the world. You must open the door, then establish what you want to establish in life. To establish that, you must follow the Rasis, the Kalpurusha. Now, this is something you probably weren't taught before.
You must.
To establish something in the world, you must follow the Kalpurusha, that is manifesting whatever desire that is in the Atma. Okay? Mars is Lord of which houses in the Kalpurusha? First and eighth is Lord of Aries and Scorpio, the natural first and eighth house. So, if he was doing something for Chandi, he was doing it for either his Lagna or his eighth house. Okay? So, to manifest that, to establish that, he was worshipping Mars, Lagna. Okay? Now, you will be confused here, because we have no indication of which planet is Atmakaraka in Rama's chart. Okay? But let me tell you this. If he is an avatar associated with Surya, as Parashara says, he says Rama is associated with Surya, the avatar associated with Surya, he must have Atmakaraka in first house. And to justify this, I will draw Krishna's chart. Actually, why don't you draw Krishna's chart? I'll tell you the positions. Tell me, where are his positions as you remember? What is his Lagna?
He has Rishabha Lagna.
Correct.
His charm is exalted in Moon.
Correct. Moon is strong in Lagna. Very good. So, Vrishabha Lagna. Moon is in Lagna. In third house, he has which planets? Do you remember? He has some specific planets in third house? No? He has Mars, Venus and Rahu. Note the parivarsana between Moon and Venus here. In the fourth house, he has Atmakaraka Sun. In the fifth house, he has Guru and Buddha. They're in planetary war with each other, in 1 degree. In the seventh house, he has Saturn. And in the ninth, he, of course, has Ketu. Okay? You'll find the only Raja Yoga in this chart is the parivarsam between Saturn and Ketu, 9th house and the 7th house. Okay? Now, Sun is Atmakaraka in 4th house?
Yeah.
Yes? So that means that he must be an incarnation of the moon. He's associated with the moon. Moon is Karaka for 4th house. So that's why for Krishna, he is an avatar of the moon, and for Rama, avatar of the sun. So he has the moon in Lagna, that means he is supposed to be a Vishnu avatar. At least there is a potentiality of that. There's some other yogas for that also, but that is when we get into further things like Jataka Parijata, Sarata Chitamani, then we'll study that. Come on, sit down. We're doing Krishna's chart. Moon in Lagna. Yes. Mars, Venus, Rahu in the 3rd house. Yes, it's recording. It is? Yes, it's recording. Yes. Sun in the 4th house, Atmakaraka. Jupiter, Mercury in 5th house. Saturn in 7th house. Ketu in 9th house, of course. His Atmakaraka is in 4th house. It's the Sun. Karaka is moon. Hence, he must be an avatar of the moon. Now, some people will say then, okay, that was only 2 examples. How to justify this further? I'll give an example of that later also. This Atmakaraka principle. Krishna established the Somanath Jyotirlinga. Again Shiva, the highest form of the moon. Somanath, the one who is the Lord of the moon. Okay? And he used to worship Shiva in that form. Somanatha. So what was he doing when he did that? One, he was making the moon strong by knowing his purpose of life, his purpose of his incarnation. 4th house, Atmakaraka. Karaka is moon. On the other hand, he's also manifesting that in the world by the moon being the natural lord of the 4th house. So it does both in his case. So Somanath. In Krishna's chart, we are not concerned as much with curses as we were in Rama's. In Krishna's chart, we are supposed to learn about Sambandha, about the coming together of people for certain purposes. Krishna did not go out and destroy all the Asuras and this and that and start all the Mahabharata and everything alone. He needed to do so through people, through other Atmas. Okay? Whilst Krishna was said to be a very strong fighter, he was a wrestler, come on, very, very strong. He is really known for the Mahabharata war in which he assembled the 2 sides. He ensured the Pandavas went to war. He ensured Arjuna did not back down when he was questioned. He is known for the Sambandha. Okay? So from his chart, we are supposed to learn about Chitti. It is from his chart we are supposed to learn about desires of people and how we come together with other people to fulfill certain desires. Okay? He was born on Ashtami Tithi in Rohini Nakshatra. As far as I can see, there doesn't seem to be any problem as far as the Tithi and Nakshatra are concerned. In his case, it is Krishna Ashtami Tithi and Rohini Nakshatra. Rohini Nakshatra. Who is the Lord of that Nakshatra?
Moon.
Moon. So if Moon is strong in this chart, he will have lasting fame. Is Moon strong in this chart? Exactly. So I have justified the principle again about the Moon. How about the Sun? He was born in Raja Yoga, wasn't he? He experienced a lot of Raja Yoga around him. The response of the Sun. Is Sun himself in the 4th house? There you go. Simple. But he was not directly involved in politics, though he was in a place with a lot of Raja Yoga. It's in 4th house. There's no Digbala of the Sun. There are many stories about how he was living with the and he was a cowherd. He herded the cows and cattle and everything. That he was taking care of them. And there was a lot of there's all these stories about he was growing up in almost like a farm-like place, basically. It was in 4th house, not in 10th house. Okay. Though it was basically a family of warriors.